So one thing we kind of blew right through was how Amazon Redshift pricing works. If you're going to use this in a professional environment, sooner or later that question is definitely going to come up. Now the good news is compared to other OLAP data warehouse solutions out there, it's incredibly well priced. So Amazon takes two different approaches to Redshift pricing. The first is on-demand pricing. Basically, you pay for the nodes that you have when they're in use. If you spin up additional nodes, your price will go up immediately. If you decommission nodes and reduce the size of your Redshift cluster, then your price will immediately go down. That's on-demand pricing. If you know enough about the demand and the needs of your data warehouse, you can get a much better price by doing reserved instance pricing. This you pay for nodes up front, either on a 1 or a 3-year term. Now, even if they aren't being used and you decommission them later, you have to pay that upfront reserved instance pricing. That's how you get that better price. Here on the Amazon Redshift page, there's another item for Amazon Redshift Spectrum. That's a different product in the Redshift family, so we're going to ignore that for now. So basically, on-demand pricing is as simple as assigning a per-hour charge to each node. So for example, on a dense compute large node, where you get 2 virtual CPUs and the 15 gig of memory and 0.16 of a terabyte assigned to each node, your cost is about 25 cents an hour. Now this is for my selected region. If you select a different region, say Sydney, Australia, you get a different price. Same goes for Tokyo. Now this isn't nationally oriented because if I pick Northern California, you'll see that I get a different price. Currently my region is set for the US West in Oregon. So on this 25 cents an hour node, let's do the math and see what we're going to pay for that per year. So we got 24 hours times 365 days for the total number of hours in a year. We multiply that out and we're right about $2,100 for a DC2 large node. So that's a per node price. And honestly, if you really consider it, that's pretty good considering that you're getting infrastructure, licensing, the data warehouse, all the compute, and the flexibility of the cloud and the lack of overhead in supporting all that. But what are we getting per terabyte? So if I do the math out on 0.16 of a terabyte, you can see that we're paying about $13,600 per terabyte. Well, that's quite a bit more than the advertised price on Amazon Redshift currently as data warehousing for as low as $1,000 a terabyte. Now there's definitely different calculations you could do. You could figure out your cost based on CPU, based on memory, based on the individual nodes. But a pretty common one is the per terabyte cost, since we are talking about a data warehouse solution. So let's try that math again. Let's go down here and say that we're going to switch from a dense compute node to a dense storage node. 24 hours times 365 days, giving us our hours per year. And we'll multiply that by $6.80 an hour instead of that 25 cents an hour. When you do that math, it's closer to about $60,000 per node. But divide out those terabytes, and your cost per terabyte drops all the way back down to $3,700 per terabyte. So you've cut a little over $9,000 off that per terabyte cost between the dense storage 8x large and the dense compute DC2 large. And in addition to that, you've gone from 2 virtual CPU all the way up to 36 virtual CPU and increased your memory by almost 230 gig. Now let's see what we would get if we switched that to the effective per terabyte price but with reserved instances. Down here at the bottom of that page, and you can see the URL up here as aws.amazon.com/redshift/pricing, what you have is a comparison of each of those different cost breakdowns. So you can see the $13,000 per terabyte for the DC2 large with a 1-year reserved instance price of down to 10. On the flip side, way down here at the bottom, you have that DS2 8X large paid for all up front, and now your per terabyte cost is that $935, which answers the question of how does Amazon advertise that you can get large-scale data warehousing for as low as around $1,000 per terabyte. The trick being that you need to get that 3-year reserved instance on their largest node type. Now I'm going to say it again because it's worth repeating. All of these prices, when you consider that you don't have to buy servers, you don't have to staff infrastructure folks to keep those servers healthy and patched and up and running, you don't have to put in the cost of a data center or power, and all of this is elastic and scalable. Plus, you don't have to pay the licensing, the yearly maintenance that goes with software, and all the other minutiae of running a large-scale enterprise data warehouse. Honestly, those prices are incredibly low. Alright, so now we kind of understand how to spin up a Redshift cluster, and we have a good idea of what running one will cost at the different per terabyte sizes, and hopefully this gives you the ammunition you would need to justify those expenses. Let's return now and talk more about why we would want to pick Amazon Redshift, aside from just fantastic pricing and ease of setup.